please
Smeagol, you do have
explain
to
to me?
admit, like you have to admit you got blown the fuck out, right? Like, I
I
mean, come
mean,
on.
yeah, I got ganged up by three people who were unable to change their mind because they keep
First of
interrupting
all,
me.
No,
I'm
no,
not a
but
person.
like you do have to admit, like you got destroyed there, though, right? Like, come on,
No,
let's
I
be fair.
didn't. He just
No,
kept
I mean, come
interrupting
on,
me and
no,
you
no,
allowed
let's in
it.
all seriousness, like all ego aside, like I mean, come on, you got destroyed, like right?
Dude, no, I didn't. He just kept
No, I mean,
interrupting
come
me
on,
whenever I
now you're
tried to
being bad
talk.
faith. Now you're being bad faith, dude.
Now
Come
you're
on.
gaslighting us again.
No, dude, no, I am not.
Yes, you are.
Dude,
I'm on the verge of tears.
All right,
Like
Smeagol,
this
you're
is
back.
really
Dude,
Sorry,
fucking
Smeagol, you're
apologize,
back at an
bro.
8. You need to
Smeagol,
take it back
apologize
down
right
to
now.
like a 5 or something.
Smeagol, apologize.
no.
Wow,
guys,
you're not even remorse, bro. You're evil. You're an evil person. You're so selfish.
you're making women cry.
You're so selfish, Smeagol.
Okay, well, I'm not making a woman cry since you're not crying.
Can I hear her
I
cry? She's literally
literally
crying. You hear her? Now
okay,
you're gonna tell her,
God.
you're gonna deny the victim? Wow.
Wait,
Well,
Smeagol,
she's
you don't
not.
believe all
Look,
women?
we have too many contestants up here for us to
Schmiegel,
just
I
be
thought
wasting this opportunity.
Schmiegel, I
Wait,
thought what Lucario said it was believe all women. What happened to believe all women?
What do you mean by believe all women?
Oh, now you're gonna be
Never mind,
Mr.
bro.
Socratic on the fucking belief of women. Like,
yeah,
Where'd he go?
I'm done with him. He's dispatched.
anyway,
Oh,
Lucario,
oh yeah, you can do that.
yeah, do you and Divinity disagree on anything?
Yeah,
On any given proposition?
yeah. I think he's not vegan. I think there are strong motivations to be
Are you
vegan.
not a
Yeah,
vegan, Divinity?
I will actually concede on the proposition I'm
Hey,
not
hey,
vegan.
hey, hey, fucking Divinity, right? Is it the case that you're a cornist?
Yeah.
Okay, you're right. So, yeah, so the question just goes, right? What's true of an animal that, if were to become true of a human, would cause you to say it's permissible to slaughter
To
humans,
slaughter
right?
them.
Or what's the answer? What's the trait, coward?
Wait, are we debating or am I debating Lucario?
What's the trait, coward? All right,
You
that's
are
dodge
debating,
one.
bro.
Right now you don't want to live up to dodging divinity, right? That's already
I'm abusing
you already
already?
been quoted on that, right? Dodging divinity,
Got
right?
proof.
So what?
Divinity, are you okay with violating a woman's bodily autonomy?
All right, but yeah, Lucario, do you guys want to
Every
talk?
time abusing me, bro.
Do you guys want to talk?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
curious on.
Lucario, let's hear it.
I heard a
Yeah.
little bit
Okay.
of your response
Divinity,
to.
I'd like to ask you something.
Yeah,
Can
sure.
I
I
ask you
grant
Go
that.
ahead,
something?
Smeagol. Go ahead. Take up the space, Smeagol.
Are you okay with, specifically asking this to Divinity, are you okay with,
All right, yeah, go ahead,
Anyway, what are you
guys.
saying, Lucario?
Yeah.
I heard some of your responses to the questions about like traits, and then your responses to some reductios were like, you know, you unironically just think that it's fine to factory farm animals, and I guess I was under the assumption that you took a little bit of a different view, where you probably presumably you just wouldn't be fine with like the regular factory farming. But now I'm just gonna ask you, are you fine with like the standard factory farming of animals?
I'm not like too sure about like how exactly the procedure
Yes
goes
or
down, but
no?
in my estimation, it seems fine.
Okay, and also presumably, you wouldn't want that to happen to a human. Like you'd want legislation that stops that from happening to humans, right?
Yeah, dude, I would never want that to happen to you.
Okay, well, what is true about the animals that if we're to
Well,
become
maybe
true
one's a
about?
fucking human, Lucario. Maybe if you comprehended that, you know that.
Okay, but what is true about the animals
Well, what
that
do you
are?
know what a human is? Because then that should answer your
I
question.
believe I know what a human is.
All right, well, just take that belief and apply it to this conversation.
Yeah, well, I mean that's a trivial response, and then that tells me some traits. But
By trivial, do you mean like it answers it obviously? Because I agree.
yeah, well,
Thank you.
no, yeah, that's an obvious
That was a
entailment.
yes or no. Is that what you meant?
Yeah,
Holy shit, you're scrambling right now.
that's what I meant. So you just
it's a fucking
articulated that,
human
it's an obvious answer, but I'm
it's
asking
a
for something
human
a little
and
bit
it
more
would be.
interesting.
All right, yeah, it's a human is the difference.
Okay, now I guess I could ask like why that's a difference, but more specifically, what named the trait? What I'm getting at is like what are true about like what characteristics are true about these humans that if we're to
These
become true
humans?
about these animals, yeah, the humans that you just
Well,
labeled.
do you know what I mean? Do you know what the distinctive feature of a human being
There's a
is?
lot there's a lot of traits necessary.
There's a distinctive. There's not.
There are a plethora of traits.
There's not like one fundamental explanatory feature of human beings and their behavior
No,
and the
there's
way they
not
are.
one trait that makes
Wait,
something a human.
Stop right now. Clearly, right, dodging divinity is going to try to weasel. Stop right now. Clearly, right, dodging divinity is going to try to weasel out of this, right? So we can just do the trait equalization process, right? So, let's just take some paradigm case, right? So let's take a human's mind, right, and let's put that right in a pig. Would it be permissible to slaughter that given pig? Yes or no?
Anymore, dude. Yes.
Also, yes, it is permissible.
You said you put the human mind in the pig?
Yeah, good job. Are you
Does
tracking,
it
dumb
have all
fuck?
the
You
same
need me to repeat it
executive
again for the
functions?
third time?
Are you stipulating that it retains the
It's
same
the
executive
mind
functions?
of the human in the animal.
Yeah. I'm trying to understand
Oh,
exactly how
yes
it's
or no?
integrated. You fuck. Does it like
Yes or no?
maintain
Is
the
it
same
permissible to
executive
slaughter it?
functions? Yo, lock in. Does it
Yes or
have the same
no?
executive?
Yes or no? Is it permissible to slaughter the given pig? Yes or no?
You have to explain yourself.
What needs clarified?
I just told you. Does it maintain the
What
same
needs
executive
clarified?
functions?
Sorry, that's a blunder.
Does it maintain
Wait, sorry,
all the
what'd you say?
same executive functions?
What do you mean by executive functions,
The
and why is
fucking
that
ability
relevant?
to execute and implement its ideas on the world. That one.
Wait. We can take that out. Actually, yeah. Well, let's just say it doesn't have the ability to do that. Is it
Oh, it's
permissible
just
then?
like it's just like a human consciousness like locked up in a pig.
Yeah. Is it permissible to slaughter it?
Yeah, you can do whatever you want to that thing.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Yeah. Yeah.
It just depends on the context.
Okay. So I mean, clearly,
Because sometimes it would be
divinity.
okay.
Wait, do you want to
Just
clarify the context?
clearly, divinity has been biting too many bullets. I mean, the lead has gotten to his brain, right? It's very
It
clear
just
that he's going to
depends
buy
on
down
how
like any
exactly
reductio he
and
can.
why exactly you kill it. Because like if you're killing it for like a good reason, like yeah,
For the same
value.
reason. The same reason.
Like factory farming.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, that'd be okay.
Yeah, it's permissible. So we can just slaughter like endless human minds as long as the shell of around them is like a pig.
The shell.
Yeah, the shell, the biological shell.
Yeah, if you were like
Did you
locked
get
up
caught
in
up on?
if
Did
you
you
were
get
like
caught up on
locked
that
up,
term?
frozen in your head, if you were like
Did you get caught up on the
if you're
term
fucking
shell?
paralyzed, if you're fucking paralyzed, yeah.
What, you think it's okay? Wait, what? You think it's permissible to like if as long as you're paralyzed and around
No,
your shell?
dude, no. We're stipulating the pigs. Like you're just like
Oh
paralyzed.
yeah, okay, yeah. So you think it's permissible in that circumstance, right?
It's like
So a human mind.
anthropomorphically paralyzed, yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So it's permissible to unalive them, right? Just slaughter them endlessly.
For good reason, yeah.
What's the reason?
Yeah, what's the reason?
Fucking like eating, like what?
Nice one.
That was really informative. Good job.
There's
Yeah.
like distinct qualities true of like the eating of the animal, which is like not true of the synthetic alternatives, you know?
Where you're like taking these
wow.
bullets like a DJ Khaled song. Like it's just another one.
Yeah.
Another
That's
one.
crazy, bro, because you're about to get delivered some of these bullets. Hear me out. So under your view, you think animals are people, right, Lucario?
No.
Oh, you don't?
I define a person as like, I don't know, a mind with like a lot of human characteristics and sort of
Human
rational thought.
characteristics.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, explain to me, riddle me this. Exactly what normative theory leads you to the conclusion that you shouldn't kill animals for fun?
Normative theory?
Yeah,
Like
what
trivially,
normative theory?
trivially there's utilitarianism. As long as you
That's not
consider
trivial. You know what trivial is?
yeah something that's where the answer is like really obvious and that a lot of people would just easily
Oh,
understand.
fucking really obvious, by the way, but
Yeah, so a really
so
obvious
you take that,
obvious
so
normative
yeah.
theory would be
So is
utilitarianism.
that your
where you
theory?
consider the
Is that your
maximization of
theory?
utility
Is
of the
that your
animals.
theory? Is that
No.
your theory?
No,
Yeah, what's your theory?
I'm just a subjectivist.
You're a subjectivist?
Yeah,
So I have Mr. Appraisal subjectivism or agent subjectivism?
I'm agnostic on the type of brand, but I mean I can just tell you
Oh
what
my goodness. How are you agnostic on the type of brand? It's like,
Presumably you're not like agnostic in general. Like you don't think that like some given society thinks something permissible, then it's permissible.
that's what
right?
I'm saying. So like you
So,
can't
like
be
we can just
agnostic on
whittle
this
that
because
down.
like I literally don't know whether or not the criterion, like what the criterion is if you're man agnostic on this.
Yeah, well, I'm agnostic on mostly a semantic thesis where I'd kind of be like an error theorist about a lot, but I'm not going to like make the broad general
So
claim.
when you identify
that
something as
people
good,
make.
what are you doing?
I'm just saying that it accords to my preferences, and then I can also talk about normativity with respect to your preferences as well.
Words to your preference. Is normativity different than preferences for you?
Yes, it's different.
What is it?
It's the conditionality towards an end.
Specifically, the end of your preferences, though.
No, I wouldn't. No, the end is just a variable. I could lock in, like whenever I talk about moral language, I usually just lock in the variable as like my preferences, and then I'm also able to like sort of unlock it and talk about your preferences as well.
Yeah. So for you, you're saying you just desire that animals aren't killed. That's all you're saying when you say it's wrong.
Yeah, that's what I desire, but something
that's
further I'm
mean.
able to do,
That's
like I
mean,
just
bro.
like something further that I'm able to do, like I
that's
just announced is that I can talk about the desires that you
So
have.
do you
and
think
can,
that?
oh my
Do you
God.
think that things being bad for you have like any normative authority for anybody else?
Yeah, if they care about my preferences, and I can give
Like,
reasons
do you
why they
think
should
that,
care
like,
about
your
my
preferences have an inherent character of authority over other people?
Nope, not an inherent character.
Wow. So you are selfish. You just talk about what you like. I mean, this is just.
Yeah, usually that's what I talk about. That's what I'm committed to. That's what my actions are like necessitated by, they're dictated by what I like. That's all the actions.
I mean,
Even
if
the
your
words
if your
that
view
even
if
no
your
even
view
even the
is just
words that I
about,
speak
I
even
mean,
the
if
words
your
that I
view is
speak in a
just about
debate,
like
they're all
liking
dictated by my
liking,
preferences, and so
yeah,
I think it makes a
obviously.
lot of sense to talk
I
about
mean, if
that
you're
when talking about
just,
what I should do.
what is the
But something
standard
that
for
I'd
your
also like to
preferences?
do is I'd also like to investigate other people's preferences because I'm curious. And I think under your preferences as well, you're probably
Do
going to
you
have
think
some
your
sort of motivation
preferences are
that gets you to
rational?
a vegan conclusion.
Do you think your preferences are rational?
What do you mean by rational here?
Do you think that they can be like evaluated using some standard?
Yeah, I can by rational, I can like successfully evaluate facts of reality and then get to a conclusion that it would accord to my preferences.
Yeah,
If
but
that's
like,
what you mean by
do you think
rational,
that
then yeah.
do you think that any old desire is something that people should pursue if it's their desire, or do you think there's like specific kinds of desires?
Just really any desire.
Holy shit,
When you
that's
say
awful.
should pursue, presumably that's indexed to his preferences, right? So,
Yeah,
I mean, like
Well,
it
we
would
don't
just
know.
be
He
the
said he was
types of desires
agnostic
it's
that
on
are
whether.
aligned with his
yeah.
Well, we
preferences.
don't
Your
we don't
question
actually
seemed a
know because
little.
he said he's
Your question
agnostic
kind
on
of
the
answered
appraisal.
itself in my opinion.
No, he said he's agnostic on whether it's appraisal theory or agent theory.
No, not just like between those. I'm just agnostic in general. Like some other
Yeah, but it's
accounts of
relevant
like.
because when you cash out, your view is an appraisal theory.
Okay, well, I mean, I take it to be a type of subjectivism, and the reason why I'm hesitant to take on like an appraisal theory is specifically for like a semantic thesis, issues with the data regarding a semantic thesis,
Yeah, but like
and
yourself
then
though.
you said what?
Yeah, but like you don't think I'm doing anything objectively bad. You're just saying you don't like it.
No, of course, yeah. The anti-realist, good job. It doesn't think you're doing something objectively bad.
Yeah, I mean I don't. I mean I don't.
Really an astute observation right there.
Yeah, I mean that shit just does not matter at all. Then,
Matter to an objective like
like
moral
does it
fact? Then yeah, it
objectively
doesn't
matter?
matter.
Like it doesn't objectively matter
Objectively, it does not objectively matter, but I think it does subjectively matter, which is
to
why
you.
for the past, which is why for like the past 20
Like to
minutes, I've
you.
been saying I can't talk about your preferences, and I can
Like
talk
to
about
you.
why it should matter to you, given your
Wait,
preferences.
Divinity, are you a realist?
Dude, yes, I'm so fucking real.
Are you a robust realist?
I don't
Right,
know.
that's dodge one, right? Are you a robust realist? Yes or
Dude, I
no?
was fucking yawning. Hold on. Shit. I would just
The
say I'm
dodgy
a
on.
naturalist.
That was the dodgy on, right? Are you a robust realist? Yes or no?
No, dude.
You're not a robust realist?
Oh, dude.
So there's no truth maker to like let's just take some
Whoa,
paradigm
whoa. Are
case
you
like
framing this in like a distinction between
wait,
relaxed and
wait,
robust?
Dodger, hey,
I'm
Dodger,
not dodging
right?
you. Fuck, you might be
Yeah,
confused.
I understand that you have to interrupt me because as soon
You
as I
might be
finish the
confused.
sentence, you're gonna get bitch. No, you're
It's not
confused, dumb fuck.
relaxed, bro. It's not relaxed,
It's
dude.
not. Wait, okay. Well, then let me just ask you this, right? So, for every true moral proposition, is there a truth maker? Yes or no?
I'm agnostic on that.
Oh, you're agnostic. So
Yeah,
the
let me tell
answer.
you
So
why.
you don't affirm that proposition.
Let me tell you why.
You don't affirm that proposition.
No, I don't. You want me to tell you why?
Yeah, nice. Why not?
Yeah, because I don't talk about truth and what makes it obtain in terms of there being a truth maker. Instead, I take this view called the restricted truth making principle, in which I say not that there is a specific truth maker, but that there is just something about reality which makes it true. Like I don't.
Yeah.
Like
So wait.
typically, truth makers
Okay. So then let's just look at
truth
that.
makers are taken to be objects all the time. So I don't.
Yeah. Let's just analyze the sentence again, right? So for every true moral proposition, there's a truth maker. You take that to be false, then.
I don't use the. Well, it depends. It could be a truth maker. That's I'm agnostic. Like it could be. There could be an object in the world which makes something true. It could just be like
What do
something
you
about
think? What?
reality.
Okay. Wait. Okay. So do you like? All right. When we're talking about the principle, either you accept it or you don't. Which one is it?
That there are for every proposition there are truth makers.
For every true, I'll repeat it again since you're not tracking, dumb fuck. Right? For every true moral proposition, right? It has a truth maker, has a corresponding truth maker.
I'm not going to say that it has a truth maker.
I'm asking, right? If you accept the principle, dumb fuck. So either it's the case
I'm
that you
not.
accept the principle
I don't
or
accept
not.
the principle. I don't
You
accept the
don't,
principle. Not because
right?
I
You
don't.
don't,
Not because I think
coward.
it's
You
false.
don't,
I just want to
right?
clarify. I just
So
want to clarify.
you're
I
not a
don't accept.
robust
Sorry,
realist.
I don't accept the
Right? So you're
principle.
not a
Not because I think
robust
it's false.
realist.
Not because I think it's
Yeah.
false.
So you're not a
Sorry.
robust realist.
That's what I said, retard. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I agree, but like when we
I agree. Yeah, so you
now
just
you're
realized that I
backtracking. Now
said
you're
what I said.
backtracking
You fucking
because
moron.
when
You
we just figured,
moron.
holy fucking shit,
Yeah.
holy
So
fucking
what
shit.
I did
Now
was
he's
I told you
interrupting.
that I didn't accept the
Holy fuck, the
proposition.
dumb fuck
Oh
has
yeah,
to
you don't
interrupt
accept
because
that.
if he
Well,
says as
obviously
soon as I
you fucking
finish
better.
the sentence, he's gonna look like a dumb fuck the last 3 times that happened. Nothing that you can do in the last 1/10 of the conversation will save you from the last 9/10 of you looking like a dumb fuck, right? So let me. Oh, you
Wait,
left.
hold
Okay, yeah,
on.
run
I
away.
think someone kicked him because he slurred.
Don't click
Bro,
him.
what the heck?
Wait, did you say? I didn't hear any slurs. Did you slur?
I don't even know what you're talking about. Anyway, look, here's the thing. I don't accept I don't speak in terms of like there being a specific object, which, object being the truth maker that makes something true. I don't speak like that. I just accept the more broad, less committing notion of something about reality makes it true.
Yeah. Okay, wait. Okay, so is it possible under your view, in some empty world for there to be true moral propositions?
No, definitely not. Definitely not.
No, it's not possible.
No, dude, it's not even fucking
Okay,
possible.
It's
so
it's
guys,
definitely not possible.
Well, not if it's a proposition about the world, though.
hey Divinity. Now that I'm here, do you promise not to
Yes, Smeagol, shut your
interrupt
fuck
me?
up,
Wait,
dude.
Please,
then that just rules
please,
out
Divinity.
relaxed realism.
My God.
Yeah, 1 second.
Yeah, that just rules out relaxed realism.
Well, not technically, because my view, the principle is the restricted truth-making principle, in which every statement about the world has
Right,
a...
in a strict sense. Yeah, I'm obviously saying in a strict sense. Yeah.
Well, no, but it doesn't rule it out, because a statement not about the world doesn't need something about the world to make it true. So,
Wait,
like,
what do you mean about the world?
yeah. Let me go ahead and fucking explain the fucking semantics for you, fucking scumbag.
Yeah. Reduce the semantics, dumb fuck.
Yeah. So, about the world, I mean, it's kind of vague, but it's intentionally vague.
Yeah, because you're a
The
sophist.
idea
right?
is if I'm talking about like empirical things, material objects, physics, objects and how they relate, everything like that. If I'm talking about it's in some way about the world, I mean, kind of just tell from examples, like kind of about the world, then, anything real, you might say ontologically real, given like the, whether or not you quantify over a commitment or something in a proposition. And statements about the world, then something about the world makes those statements true.
Yeah, but that wait. But then it's just compatible. Like the principle would still be compatible, in a like a non like it doesn't even have to be like in a non-physical sense of the world. Like in a non, it's in a less ontologically committing sense. So like,
Well,
I'm just saying if we loosen it up, right?
like
I'm saying when we loosen it up.
The idea is if a proposition is not about the world, then it doesn't require a or it doesn't require something about the world to make it true.
Yeah, and then just reintroduce the semantics of about the world. I didn't.
Yeah, so let me do it by contrast. So, for example, suppose you're talking about fiction or something, and you don't think fiction's about the world. Well, there isn't something about the world which has to make that true. Like nothing in the world has to make true that Harry Potter has a scar or something. Or
Obviously, yeah. So then you're just using like traditional semantics. Wait, so then when we go back to the example, and you're saying it's definitely not the case, that it's possible for there to be a true moral proposition in an empty world. When you're saying that's definitely not the case, how is that compatible with relaxed realism?
Because I think moral propositions are about the world. That's the difference.
Wait, but you okay. When you're
The world, that's the difference.
Wait, but you okay. When you're saying about the world, then I don't see how that's incompatible with relaxed realist stance.
Well, the reason why is because the relaxed realist, the whole idea is that moral properties are irreal. Like they're not real. They're not about the world. Like moral propositions would be
scumbag. Yeah, this guy's just a sophist.
No, this is like this is the semantics they use. I mean, like what they'll say is that in a world with no ontological commitments, there.
I know what you're getting at. I'm just saying when we tie it back into what we were just talking about, I don't see how that makes the move that you're trying to make. Well, wait, Lucari, are you caught up on what we're talking about here?
Sorry, I had to drop for a little bit, but I did have some questions.
Point I'm making is that as it pertains to relaxed realism, or where my view sits in the relaxed versus robust kinds of realism, my view is metaphysically committing, right? I just don't frame it in terms of there being truth makers, because I think the truth maker semantics get a little restrictive because you think about them as objects or something. It's more so broadly that I take the principle of truth making in which if a statement is about the world, something about the world makes it true. And given that I think moral statements, contrary to what the relaxed realists say, are about the world, I think something about the world makes them true. But a relaxed realist thinks statements are not about the world per se. They're really about, okay.
So you're just saying in like a roundabout way that you're a confused dumb fuck. Okay.
All right.
Okay, that clarifies it.
You don't accept the relaxed realist view, hopefully, right?
No.
Yeah, that'd be fucking awful if you accept that. So, anyway, what were you gonna ask me, Lucario?
I was gonna ask. Okay, so in the possible world where like nothing exists, and then I guess was the question whether
what kind of possibility is this? What kind of world is that?
A logical world.
Yeah, it's not a fucking possibility, by the way, but whatever.
A logical possibility.
That's not logically possible.
It's not possible for nothing to exist.
Yeah, what's a world?
The set of all things that exist, like the cardinality. The cardinality could just be empty.
So there's a world with nothing?
There could be.
That sounds like there's no world.
Yeah, there could be a world. There could be a world with nothing.
Oh my god, this is the fucking Platonic. Oh my god, I hate this fucking analysis.
It's like the opposite of Platonism. Like what?
It's not. No, this Platonic analysis of treating worlds as if
you
there's
deny that there can be true things about an empty world. Yes or no?
I don't deny that.
you
I mean,
don't deny
I
that?
won't argue
You
that I
don't
deny
deny that?
I won't argue that I deny it because I'm
Oh,
still
you're gonna
confused
okay.
whether
So
I
you're
said
gonna backtrack like a weasel. Okay.
I'm not backtracking. I'm just saying it's not possible that there is a world with nothing. Doesn't make sense.
I mean, if you're just using that your semantics differently, then like obviously everyone here will grant that.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
But
I don't use this fucking platonic fucking language in which
I
you
mean,
can
yeah,
conceive
you
of a
have
it
like your
seems
world,
own
but
little.
it
in
seems
which you
like it
can
would be
conceive of a world
platonic
with
if you were
nothing.
like,
Like
oh,
presumably a world has like fucking things. Like presumably
I'm not.
what a world is a collection of things. But if there's no things, there just is no world, right?
You don't have to be like a motor realist about it. Like I mean,
You
that's
don't
the
have
only
to be a
sense in which I
monorealist
could
either.
see
It's
it.
not even conceptual. It's not about it being like concretely real. That's not the point. The point is that in designating something as a world, you're saying that there is this collection of objects, and the collection of objects, some of those is the world. But like in this alleged hypothetical, there is no objects, and there would be no world. There's a composition of nothing.
Well, okay, well, usually when you label something as Platonist, that seems to like usually comes off to me as you criticizing them for being like ontologically committed to something.
No,
Whereas,
no,
like,
it's Platonic in the sense that Plato thinks that space is this. Plato performs this move where he reifies space as nothingness and then says it's real. Like he thinks that there's this thing called empty space, which is like literally this plane full of non-existence, and then like stuff fills it. But then if you do that, then you can conceive of a world as just being empty space, which is really just reifying nothing. But obviously that doesn't make sense. So
I don't see how it doesn't make sense.
because
Please
you're reifying nothing. What do you mean?
Like, do you not think that like nothing could
Well,
exist?
Not A is A. What are you talking about?
Well, yeah, there
what
doesn't
if-
have to be an A. Or you're just not
Nothing-
positing an A with
When you
respect
say
to the
nothingness,
world.
when you say nothingness exists, right? What
It seems like a parallel confusion when somebody says like, well, nothing can create like a causal chain or whatever. Parallel confusion when somebody says like, well, nothing can create like a causal chain or whatever. And
you
then
need
they're
to
like,
acquaint yourself with Parmenides, bro.
you need to acquaint yourself with not being a bitch.
You need to
About
acquaint
that.
yourself with not being a bitch. How about
Oh
Bitch.
fuck. Oh shit.
that? Yeah,
Oh,
fucking
oh wow.
contemplate that, young blood.
Oh my god. I wasn't expecting that one.
Dude, I went up to a. Never mind. I'm not in the proper server to talk about.
Oh my
that. Anyway, what were you saying, Lucario?
No, nothing, bro. You're just confused.
How am I confused?
Exactly.
I feel
Yeah,
like
there's
every
a-
time you guys talk, there's not like meat on the bone. You know, you guys aren't angry enough at each other. There's not like a clear proposition on the table every time.
I mean, like
Like, is
Lucario
there anything more
is a
substantive?
value appraisal subjectivist, which is kind of stupid, but
Okay, so let's just take the proposition. Wait, what'd you call it?
appraisal subjectivism.
Oh, just well, I don't think he committed to appraisal subjectivism.
No,
did he?
no, I'm not committed to that.
He does for his semantics, right?
Okay, let's just take the view that all forms of moral realism are false. Do you affirm that? Or at least like the relevant ones in the literature. Do you affirm
Yeah.
that, Lucaria?
All from that.
what
Okay,
the
yeah.
fuck?
So yeah, just give the argument for that, and then let's see if divinity can refute it.
Well, I only affirm it in the sense that I don't have reason to
Like as
accept
a
it.
rejoinder, yeah.
And then
obviously.
if you really want like a formal argument, I would just say that
Well,
an
you're
anti-realist
a
view, an anti-realist view would just be more parsimonious.
You're a bitch. Yeah.
Wait,
So
do you disagree that his anti-realist view is more parsimonious than
Of
your
course,
realist view?
of course, I disagree.
Okay, yeah. So what's the argument that your view is more
So,
parsimonious?
Luke, let's just cash out exactly why he thinks it's more parsimonious. Let's investigate that premise there.
Yeah. Well, wait. Before we let's just get the argument for why.
Well, hold
it's more
on. We have to establish what exactly we're explaining to identify what the explanatory power is. Like when you say it's more parsimonious, like it's better at explaining what.
No, I'm not saying necessarily it's better at explaining something. I think that a realist
That
view,
is what parsimony
an
is. So
anti-real-
that's a blunder on your end.
No, that's not what.
Yes, it is.
No, it's like equal explanatory power, like with you
Yeah,
know,
with the ontological commitments or like statistical variable commitment. Yeah,
yeah, which is like the most amount of
But
simplicity.
yeah,
And so
yeah.
I'm just saying,
Colloquially referred to
saying,
as better explanation. Yeah. So
I'm just saying, I
what's
haven't seen reason why like
what's
an
being
anti-realist-
explained?
Oh, just calm down. I'm about to
I'm
explain.
fucking
it.
very calm, Mahav. Just what's
Oh
being
my God.
Lucario. Okay, let's just take one piece of data that you think your view explains better.
What do you think
And then we'll
metaethical
argue.
fucking discourse is trying to explain?
Okay, I don't know if this needs. Okay, I'll just drop parsimony and just specifically talk about Occam's razor. Okay, like I'll just drop parsimony and just specifically talk about Occam's razor. Okay, like I
Wait,
just think they
but
have
we have
equal.
to. Let's just
No,
introduce
Fucking
a piece of
Occam's
data.
razor. Oh my god.
no, I'm just talking. No, I'm just isolating the simplicity nature of the theoretical
I know what
virtue,
fucking
not.
simplicity is. I want the explanatory. I want the
What do you
parsimony
mean
to
you're
then
not
say it's not
committing to
explaining
anything?
anything. Like,
You just said it's the best explanation.
I didn't
and
say
now
it
you
was the
can't even
best
tell me
explanation.
what's being
You
explained.
don't. Wait, you're not saying that your view it has the best explanation.
It's part
No, I'm just saying.
parsimonious.
I'm just saying it's simpler under the assumption that they have equal
Simpler at
explanatory
what?
power.
Simpler at like at what? Parsimony isn't just parsimony is fucking like, it's posits, right? And what it's explaining, like the least
Exactly.
amount of posits to explain something.
Yeah, and I'm not committing to the. I'm not committing to the. I'm just saying that overall, this view is simpler. Now, if you want to make the
Simpler
assertion that
insofar as there's less commitments, or simpler insofar as there's less commitments and it explains something better.
just the first one.
Then why
Do
the
you
fuck
think
would I
anyone?
care about that?
Wait, do you think anyone disagrees that?
Oh
you
my
have, like,
god!
less
Wait,
commitments?
nihilism is the most.
That's why.
parsimonious.
That's why I said. That's why I said I
Okay,
can only.
let's
I can only
just
give
go
an
through this.
argument.
Wait,
Just no. That's why I said I can only give an
Nihilism
argument. That's why
is
if
the
you're
most
asking me to give an
parsimonious. Yo,
argument,
dude,
just
did you know
trivially,
that?
I would just respond
Dude,
with
did
this.
you know that nihilism is
It's
the
not
most
supposed to be
parsimonious view?
convincing to you. That's
Holy
where I'm
fuck,
asking
dude.
you for a better explanatory power.
Global skepticism is the most parsimonious.
What?
Yeah. So like, look, let's just go through this. Okay. So we can just go through pieces of data, and we'll see your view as to whether or not your view
Yeah,
explains
so
it better, right?
let's
Yes,
go
this
ahead
is
and do
exactly
this.
what I wanted to do before I was interrupted like an ape. Like what?
Okay, give me your account of the formation of the concept of good.
Like count of the formation of the concept of good. And
Yeah,
I,
give me the
okay,
account.
okay. Well, I thought you were gonna like give some explanatory power, but when I say
Why would
good,
I
I'm
give
just
explanatory
talking.
power to a fucking question?
Okay, okay,
Give
sure,
me your
but
account of the formation of the concept of good.
my count of the formation of the concept of good is just something that is conducive towards an end.
That's how you form the concept of good.
Okay, or how I
But something
form, like,
that's
are you asking
conducive
an
to an
epistemic question?
end is compatible with a realist view.
Holy fucking shit!
No, that's-
Blunder.
I agree, it's
Blunder.
compatible with the realist view. Like what?
Yeah, but we're talking about your account, which presumably isn't
I
a
want
realistic
no
account.
no look, Lucario. I want you to tell me your account of how people form the concept of good, like chronologically lay it out for me.
Okay, wait, are you asking for a semantic thesis or how I use the term?
Presumably, how you use the term. Yep.
Okay, well, I already gave you how I use the
No,
term.
no. I know how you said you used it. I want an account of how you formed that concept. Because obviously you didn't fucking begin using the concept and be like, yes, when I say good, I'm really talking about. I'm really teleologically
Yeah,
predicating my desires.
then that's just where I would like give examples where my semantics of good have been able to work well with sentences.
Yeah,
like,
that's fucking ad hoc. I want a fucking. What am I understanding? I want a
I don't understand
chronological.
what you're asking.
I want a chronological reduction of the concept of good. Like I might agree that your language is now consistent with your conception of good. Like I might
Are you
grant
asking
that.
how I formed? Are you asking how I got to the semantics?
That's what I said. I said I want a account of the formation.
That's what. Okay, well, that's what I was doing. I was like, okay, well, I look at sentences, and then okay, well, this the way that it's defined here, it seems to be describing.
You had the
conducitivity.
concept prior to looking at fucking sentences, so lock in.
No, I looked at the sentences, and I tried to, and then I asked myself,
Are you
what do they
fucking
mean?
trolling
What did they
me
mean by good here? Well,
Where
the
did you
situation,
first
the
come
thing that
about
they're
the
the thing that they're
concept?
talking about in
Hold
this,
on,
the
real
thing
quick,
that they're
real
talking
quick.
about in this sentence.
Where did you first come about? Presumably you didn't fucking. You're not married, bro. You're not locked in the room reading books. You're not. Like, what are they talking about? Okay, so where in the world, like where in your life did you come up with the concept of good? Like what happened?
Initially, it was religious.
You say what?
It was religious
Really?
initially. Yes.
Like how? Like explain that to me.
Oh, well, someone was teaching me the Bible, and they were like, "Well, good is something in accordance with God's nature." So that's where I was first acquainted.
I don't understand. Like you know, this is not how this works. So like when you were a young child, right? How did you decide what to do?
I decided what to do. I had a desire.
You had a desire.
Then I evaluated things that are conducive towards that desire.
And so you
I decided.
right. So in the formation of a desire, what do you think forms a desire?
The things that form a desire.
Uh-huh.
I'd have to think. I don't want to like commit to it, but just like qualia, like I know I get a good feeling from something.
Yeah. So
Anchor.
yeah, you fucked up now. So what we've realized, right, is that desires presumably have what's called moral authority over you, right? Your desires have an authority over. Yeah, right. Now, presumably, the moral authority is explained by the hedonic character of desire.
Okay.
Is that you agree with that?
Yeah.
Yeah, but what we understand is that the hedonic character of desire explains, the way you use good and bad, not because specifically it's desire, but just because of the hedonic character, which is why the formation of your desires, right, were caused and explained by experiencing certain qualia with hedonic character, like pleasure and pain. And then you create these kind of like mental guides to like keep you on the things which you judge as being pleasurable, right?
I'm not sure if I'm fully tracking what you're saying.
The point I'm making is that the concept of good is created not because of your desires. It doesn't reduce in because of your desires. The concept of good is created to denote a range of behavior which lead to pleasurable hedonic or positive hedonic phenomenal states.
Yeah.
Right. So then the problem is this isn't a subjectivist view, right? This is a naturalist hedonist view. It's not about like for example, right? The motivating character of a desire is not the fact that you consciously evaluate something as such and such. It's because of its relationship to the pleasure it causes to you. So presumably someone could desire like all these other things which are not actually conducive towards pleasure, and then there could be this set of behaviors and things they can do which would lead to them having a more pleasurable life. And given that you accept that pleasure has hedonic character and therefore moral authority, they would still be morally obligated to do these things which they don't desire to do.
Maybe a disconnect is just what we mean by hedonic character. Can you define what you mean by hedonic character?
A hedonic character is a phenomenal state with an inherently motivating feature to it.
Okay, I can understand that, but like I don't see how that gets me to like a realist view.
Well, it's realist because it doesn't have to do with your conscious evaluation. It has to do with factually what in the world produces positive experiences.
Oh, okay, well,
Bro,
this seems very
like
similar to
repackaging
this.
virtue.
This seems very. Is this just like Ayn Rand's view, or are you taking something different than Ayn Rand on that?
I mean, like it's like Ayn Rand's view. I mean, Ayn Rand wasn't as like fucking precise and linear as me, but I mean, you could say it's like her. I mean, let's just call it my view, okay? Because Ayn Rand talks about value in like different ways. So, I mean, my view is that.
So sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, my view is that the concept of good reduces down, or it was formed from the experience of pleasure and pain, and then from that you have this kind of conceptual need to guide yourself towards those pleasurable experiences and avoid the painful ones. So you create the concept of good, and good good just denotes the range of behaviors which, if followed, produce the most enjoyable life, right? So
Okay, but
If that's what you mean by moral, then I'd
no,
probably
it's what you mean by, but this is the point. Like, it's what you mean by good, because it's what you mean by, but this is the point. Like, it's what you mean by good, because
if that's what you mean by moral, and you think that's compatible with moral realism,
but it's not subjectivism now. It's now it's now a naturalist, realist, hedonic view.
ontologically relevant.
It's no longer about what the appraiser deems desirable. It's now about what factually, based on you and your environment, leads towards more pleasure.
It's a
I'm
function.
not entirely sure on
all
like
he's
the
saying
distinction
is
between
there's-
that and just like an
there's a
appraiser
function that
relativist.
exists.
Yeah,
and
so
that
the
function
difference is that-
good.
Sorry, some Canadian is like
The
mumbling
difference
in
is
the background.
that the difference is that
I'm sorry that you don't fucking
appraisal.
understand the conversation, Slowboy.
Yeah, so the difference is that appraiser
Okay,
relativism.
we got the Canadian out of here. Now
The
there's
difference is
an
that
African mumbling in the background.
appraisal relativism is specifically the view.
Focus on getting blown out. That's what you should do.
You're so weird. Why are you so gay?
Appraisal relativism is specifically the view that something is good insofar as I consciously evaluate something to be good or bad or desirable, right?
Yeah, if it's conducive towards like
Excuse me?
positive hedonic character.
No, that's not the case, right? Because that's a hedonist view. A subjective appraisal theory just has to do with the conscious evaluation, like what your conscious evaluation is, not whether or not your conscious evaluation aligns with the facts about what makes you the happiest or most pleasurable life. Okay.
Yeah, but my issue is that it seems to me like a kind of subjectivist view.
Well, it's not
but
a
if you're-
subjective view because it doesn't turn on a conscious evaluation. Things are factually good or bad for you, independent of your conscious evaluation.
Okay, but like trivially an anti-realist agrees that there are objective facts, and the things like that make like every cognitivist, for example, every cognitivist is going to who commits to reality. They're going to say that there are truth makers for propositions, and via the fact that propositions are truth apt. And
I don't think you're seeing
the way that you're describing the way that you're describing.
I don't think you're seeing the dispute.
I don't see it.
Yeah, the
Explain
dispute
it.
is that a subjective appraisal theory, this standard for good and bad, the ultimate standard for good and bad, is just whether or not your conscious convictions align with certain behaviors or things. So, like if you desire X happens, right? That means it's good under a subjectivist appraisal theory. Okay, but if you accept my view, which is an agent relative naturalist realist view, it doesn't turn on your conscious evaluation of something as being desirable or something like that.
I'm just
What
not
it
very convinced that it's realist. That's the issue.
Well, what is realist because it doesn't turn on your attitudes. What do you mean? Like you don't have to consciously evaluate something as good. Like for example, you can be wrong about what's good for you. You can desire something which is bad. Your desires are not the standard of value. Your desires are consequences of your standards of value.
Okay, so, and then you're okay. I think the sort of a separation that you're making is that you could be wrong about your desire. You could have a desire, and then your desire actually isn't conducive towards your well-being, and your life. And so, what you mean by moral fact is just the things that are like accurately, um, you know, conducive towards your well-being.
Yeah, those
Right?
are independent of your stances. They don't have anything to do with your attitudes. The facts are unchanging based on your beliefs.
Okay. Um, I don't. My struggle is that I mean, when you say well-being, you're not just talking about positive hedonic character, right? Or are you talking?
Um,
Well,
that's
I
what
feel like I wait. Did I introduce the term well-being? I feel like I did.
yeah, you did. That's
Okay, yeah.
fundamentally, but that's fundamentally what I'm talking about.
The positive hedonic character. I mean, I don't know. Just intuitively, that just seems like an anti-realist to you.
Why does that seem anti-realism? Specifically, that it's stance dependent. I mean, there are things which are good and bad for you, independent of your conscious evaluation of them as good or bad.
I guess maybe it's just like the moral language that's tripping me up. Like the language just like what is moral is quite literally just what influences what accurately promotes your positive hedonic character.
Yeah,
Like
but
that's just always how I
a
define.
yeah, but like it's like I mean it's to kind of like clear up exactly how I'm using them. Take a utilitarian semantics where they say that which is good is that which produces the most, generally across everybody, the greatest positive character experiences, right?
Yeah,
Just
and that
identify the target as just yourself, and that's my view.
yeah, but that's my criticism. Like I've actually debated other people on it. Where actually I'm not fully convinced that they're a realist because whenever I ask them what they mean by morals, they say they're a realist. And then I just ask them what they mean by morals, and they're like, okay, well by morals I'm just talking about maximization of well-being, like in a utilitarian sense. I'm like, oh,
But
okay, well,
I'm talking about
yeah,
yourself.
yeah, trivially there's things that maximize well-being, and so I guess like trivially that
Yeah, but
then
understand. But
morals
okay,
are
but I'm doing
objective.
something. Yeah, but I'm doing something different than these people who just define themselves into their positions. Because what I'm doing is I'm performing. We all have this mutual concept of good, right? And prior to us like explicating and giving theories about like the meaning of these concepts, we form them, right? And then it's from these like fundamental concepts, or these fundamental like kind of understandings of concepts, the basic form in which we have them, that we then develop them to be a little more refined. Like good is what you said, or good is having the goodwill and fucking following deontic rules, or good is, be maximize utility, etc. So the reason it's competitive and the reason it's not just a semantic dispute is because your concept of good, similar to what you were trying to do with me in veganism, your concept of good is really not about your desires. That's not what you do with me in veganism. Your concept of good is really not about your desires. That's not what it's really about. It's really about
Desires. I just define desires as things that you perceive to increase your well-being, or like your mental state.
the point is that what makes something good is not your perception; it's reality.
Okay. Well, if that's the only difference, then yeah.
The difference is that
That's what.
without the
Yeah, I
difference
just
is
feel that.
substantial.
Well, okay. Well, I just feel like the way that you define, moral realism in that sense, I just don't think that a lot of people would consider that
What do you mean
realistic,
that
or at least
that
I
is
don't.
that it has to be realistic? Because the view is that things are made good not because of your perspective, not because of your attitudes, not because of your stances, but because of reality.
Yeah, but I don't see it. Well, that doesn't put you any further than like the moral realist who just literally defines morality as like maximization of well-being.
Well, it puts them further because I'm able to account for moral authority, and my view is competitive.
Okay, well, first, do you think that the moral realist who just defines goodness as like maximization of well-being, do you think that they're actually a realist?
Of collective well-being?
Yeah, collective well-being.
Well, I mean, I think they're a realist in a sense. You also have to remember, I don't agree with like the framing of metaethics in like the realist anti-realist paradigm. Like, I think it's inaccurate. Like,
Okay.
I have the trichotomy that I frame it in, so I don't.
Yeah,
frame
I was
it.
a little skeptical about the dichotomy as well. But
I frame it in like because it doesn't allow for the nuance, right? Like, obviously, if moral realism is taken to be like Kantian moral theory, then obviously I'm not a realist in that sense, right? But I'm an
yeah.
Aristotelian realist. Like, I mean, morality doesn't have to be like this like mythical thing to be real.
Okay, yeah. I actually wouldn't have any qualms with that.
Yeah, but the focus is, I mean, I guess this is a rhetorical focus, but it's relevant because subjectivism is kind of like a license to do whatever, do kind of whatever you want, like kind of omit the importance of reality. The difference between subjectivism and objectivism really is being rational about your desires. Like, do your desires conform? Are they ordered with the facts about you and the environment?
It just seems like the way that you're describing your realism is just. It seems like abrasive subjectivism, but just as long as you're always accurate and you're just rational about it.
Well, no. Now, so the closest thing it's like in subjectivist views is like an ideal observer theory, but I think those theories are like cheating in a way because like the ideal observer like stipulates that they're they're in accordance with the facts, and the facts are in accordance with are of course not their they're not in accordance with like there's a difference. Like what makes something true under an anti-realist view, the conditions for whether or not something is pleasurable or whether something is good is just whether or not it's in accordance with your evaluations. Well, under my view, it's not about your evaluations that make something good. It's about reality.
Yeah, but I mean, it seems like when you claim that your view is a realist, it seems like you're going to want something that contrasts your view a lot more than just something that's pretty much.
For example,
the
well, let me give you an example. So if somebody says,
Okay.
"I think this thing is good," and I go, "Why do you think it's good?" and they go, "It's good because I desire it." Under my view, you can evaluate desires.
Wait, do you think that an abrasive subjectivist cannot ever be like wrong about their moral claims?
They can be wrong insofar as they don't know what they actually think, but that's like the farthest you can get is like they don't know, they're like wrong about what they desire. It's kind of like the wrong